Allied Services Friday Night Rivals, presented by Tom Hesser Dealerships, is on MyTV WQMY.
Welcome to Harold Bullock Stadium. We're in Selinsgrove, Snyder County. Tonight, it's the PIAA AA state semifinals between District 3 champion Trinity and our Friday night rivals, team number 3 and District 4 champions, Southern Columbia. A pleasant good evening, everyone. Beautiful night for high school football in Central PA. I'm Bob I, joined tonight, fresh off the cruise and off the boat, former Tunkhannock area coach Jan Seachak. And Jan, let's talk about the Shamrocks of Trinity, District 3 champions, having their best season since 2012. This is their first appearance in the state semifinals since 2010. They're in a spread offense, but on defense, we'll see a lot of our Allied Spotlight player, Max Schlager.
Max Schlager, unbelievable offensively, 846 yards, 13 touchdowns, 61 solo tackles on defense. He's got 38 assists and 1 interception. He is their go-to guy on both sides of the ball.
The Tigers, meanwhile, have won 6 straight games since we saw them against Mount Carmel. They lost that game. Well, of course, they came back. They beat the Red Tornadoes for the District 4 title. They are on a roll in the playoffs, averaging 51 points per game. And I think it's easy to pinpoint why, and that's our other Allied Services Spotlight player, Wes Barnes.
Wes Barnes, really, his impact on this team is incredible. Over 1,000 yards in 9 games. Of those 9 games, he's had 100-yard games in 7 of them. He's got 18 touchdowns. He's just their go-to guy, and really, with that double-headed attack that they run with the Southern Columbia swing team, they're going to be really tough to stop.
Well, believe it or not, he did watch some film of the game. We got some keys to the game. So let's go first to the Shamrocks of Trinity.
Shamrock, they are worried about the explosiveness of having 2 now threats that they have to contain, and they also have to do a really good job pass protecting.
Southern Columbia?
And for Coach Roth, Coach Roth, he just said, we have to do a great job at that second level linebackers, and we also have to really try to contain their spread offense and really play our assignments well.
Are you chilly? It's
a
little bit chilly out here tonight. Let's check in now with the weather with Chief Meteorologist Mike Susko from the Fox 56 News first at 10.
Hey guys, it's going to be a chilly one out there, so make sure you grab the heavy jackets and hot chocolate, hot tea, anything that you need to keep you warm for the Trinity versus Southern Columbia game tonight. Not enough for a touchdown, but enough for a first down, I would say, weather-wise. 40 degrees at halftime with a mix of clouds and stars, and same thing as we go towards the end of the game. Temperatures, though, will fall down into the upper 30s by the end of the fourth quarter tonight. And as we go into Saturday, we are tracking rain, but the good news is no precipitation is expected as we go through the game tonight.
This is Southern Columbia's 22nd appearance in the AA state semifinals. They're 20-1 in those 22 games. Wow. Can Trinity knock them off, or the Tigers go for 13 state championships next week in Cumberland Valley? We'll find out. The kickoffs are next.
You're watching Allied Services Friday Night Rivals, presented by Tom Hesser Dealerships on MyTV WQMY.
Here come the District 3 champions from Trinity, and followed by Southern Columbia. The District 4 champions. We are all set for football here in Selinsgrove. Trinity has won the toss. They elected to receive. Isaac Carter has it queued up and teed up for the Tigers of Southern Columbia. Wyan and Capuana deep to receive. And we got a momentarily wind gust, Coach.
Boy, I tell you, as a kicker, you're ready to go. Your left side, right side's ready to go. And then all of a sudden, the wind comes into play. So let's hope he can get this one off. If not, then what ends up happening is you lose a guy because he's got to cook down and hold that ball for him.
Carter ready to go, and this PIAA AA semifinal is underway in Selinsgrove. Deep kick into the end zone, and that will bring out the offense for the Shamrocks. Directed this year by junior quarterback Caleb Ray. He's thrown for over 1,000 yards, Coach. 13 touchdowns, 7 interceptions.
Again, it's his first year as a quarterback in there. 13 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. But he's a young guy, as this whole team is very young, and they're giving glimpses of how good and how great this team could possibly be.
They average 30 points per game coming in, just over 321 yards per game as well. They like to run out of this, and they'll hand it off to their, looks like their fabulous freshman. That is Messiah Mickens. He's a 197-pound freshman.
Boy, look at the burst that this young man has. He's 6'1", 190 pounds, and boy, does he hit that hole really hard.
Gain of 1 for Mickens. So Mickens is just a freshman. He already has an offer, coach, from Texas. That's right, Texas A&M. We'll talk about him after this. Just Schlager, and he's met right in the middle by their linebacker, Caden Bloom. Here is the offense for Trinity. 10-4 coming in, brought to you by Blaze Alexander Family Dealerships. We'll see Mickens and Joy and Schlager in the backfield. They do throw. Wyatt is a very good receiver, 13 catches on the year. And up front, coach, what do you see from this Trinity offensive line?
Well, I see a freshman, 2 sophomores, and 2 juniors, and a senior on there. And they are just so young, and they've gotten so much better as the season progressed after watching film on these guys.
Ray's first pass out to the flat, and it's right in the hands of Barnes in a black jersey, and if he had turned his head, he'd have a pick 6. Instead, it's going to be a punt.
Good pass protection by that young offensive line. Lots of time to throw the ball. Threw off his back foot. You saw the ball wobble, but Wes Barnes in great position knocked that ball down.
Talk about Southern's defense next time they're out, but they're only giving up 18 points per game, but in this 6-game winning streak and in the playoffs, it's only 12 points per game. Pekovic's back to punt. Barnes, Wazlowski, 2 threats deep. Both can take it back high, end over end. Takes a shamrock bounce, and it will end up in Tiger territory. And here comes the Southern Columbia Tigers, averaging 37 points per game. Blake Weiss gets the start at quarterback. He's a junior. He's been up and down this year, has 8 interceptions. I don't think we'll see him throw a lot tonight, so that might not be a factor.
You have Barnes and you have Wazlowski back there. You really don't need to throw the ball that much. And we were at we did the game earlier this year against Danville, and he ended up actually having some of those interceptions were tips, so not completely his fault.
Southern 327 yards per game this season. Running the wing T. Trinity is used to seeing that, but I don't think they're used to seeing the speed and the threats of these running backs, and they'll give it to Murphy right off the bat, number 26 getting a carry.
Boy, talk about deception. All right, they're going to be keying on Wazlowski and Barnes, and now all of a sudden they come back with Murphy. Look at how he's zigging and zagging. They just do a regular, that's what they call the crossbuck right in there. Pull the right guard. The right guard's full. Lead blocking for him in there. The fullback fills for him. And I'll tell you what, boy, they're just getting that great angles on this Trinity defense.
As I mentioned, this Shamrock defense has seen some wing T this year, but it's Barnes up the middle. Another 12-yard gain for the Tigers.
I was really impressed right here with Chris Treshock out there at that tackle, and then Murphy on that one at that wing position. He just dropped him, drop-stepped, allowed the defensive end to come in, baited him in, and that created a huge hole in there for Barnes.
Southern last week, a 42-14 win over last year's single-A champion Bishop Guilfoyle. It's been all road warriors this year for the Tigers. Trinity in the white looking to blitz. Murphy gets it. He weaves his way through, but a good tackle on the inside for Trinity. And just 2 yards on that.
But the wing counter right here, he comes from the right side in motion, hands the ball off. Look at that. He's just waiting very patiently, but nice job by Trinity, the Shamrocks there, for a short gain.
Schaffner, a sophomore on the tackle. Trinity, a very young team, a lot of sophomores, a freshmen, some juniors. A very talented team, though. They're inside the Allied Services red zone. Wazlowski's first carry, cuts back. He taken down quickly. by Nice.
I was looking at some of the stats, comparing their defensive line to the offensive line. The Shamrocks average 243 pounds across the board, and they're all underclassmen. One senior at the defensive end, number 22, Wyatt Cooper. And Southern, on the other hand, has 4 seniors, and they're averaging only 216 pounds. So the check mark goes over to Trinity in terms of size.
Pitch to Barnes. He's taken down low, but he has a Perfect Storm Renovations first down inside the Allied Services red zone. It's 1st and goal, Southern Columbia from the 9.
That was a nice tackle by Christian Boog Joy right there, the linebacker. You'll see him come up, and he just does a great job. Look, he sheds the block, wraps it. Look, he's holding on, and it allowed the other Shamrocks to come in there and drop Barnes.
Now, Trinity did play wild missing this year. We know they have a great wing tee. They lost to them, but, you know, it's a little bit different wing tee. We can go throughout that, talk about that later on. But right now, the Tigers knocking on the door on their first possession, and he started the drive, and he's going to get rewarded with the first Blaze Alexander touchdown of the night for Southern Columbia. Louder Murphy from the 8.
What a great way now to use that decoy in Murphy, and really he's been executing. He looks like a man on a mission to get these Tigers back into the finals for the state game. I know it's early and we're talking about state finals, but the Tigers, I'm telling you, they have a chip on their shoulder. The 3 losses that they've accrued this year, it's just so it's.
They're going for 6 straight, Coach. 6 straight state championships. Carter on for the PAT, and the 6th play, 51-yard drive, 2.5 minutes off the clock. Tigers take the early lead, 7-0. Baba Yancicek back in Sealands Grove. Isaac Carter has it teed up again. Trinity now knows they're in a game against a very good Southern Columbia team. Didn't take long for the Tigers to take that first possession all the way down. Carter gets a full leg into it, and they'll bring it out to the 20-yard line. Now I think it's up to Trinity now to respond, or they're going to get down early.
And they can't afford to. They're a young team. There's no more growing pains because they really have matured into a very good team. And for good teams to become great teams, let's see how they respond right now. They really have got to put together a nice drive, take some time off the clock, and more importantly, keep the ball away from the Tigers.
You watched them on film last week in their win over Executive Education. What did you see from them that you liked?
I really like, their run game. Mickens is really, he's a legitimate running back as a freshman, but they really had some time to throw the ball, and they started to execute really well.
Quarterback sneak. Let's take a look now at the Southern defense, giving up 18 yards per game. That is the Southern defense. Yep, and Arnold and Deal and Trezak. Carter, we'll talk about him in a second. Barnes back in at the linebacker in the secondary. They may get tested tonight. I think we're going to see a little bit more throwing from Trinity.
And you saw when we just posted those 4 defensive linemen, all seniors, all have 3 or 4 years experience at their positions.
This is Mickens. He's got some speed, and he's out to the outside. It's Perfect Storm Renovations, first down and more for the Shamrocks into Tiger territory. Big gain for the freshman.
And that's why this young man's getting the looks he's getting. Watch how he gets his cuts back, and he just saw daylight. Nice job, nice pursuit angle by Barnes coming in there. Smartly, he had his hands on the face mask, and he dropped it down. Very smartly. Good job by Barnes not to get called for that.
Mickens is related to Atlanta Hawks coach Nate McMillan. He's his first cousin. More like brothers, they call each other. Mickens call him after the offer as Mickens goes down quickly. First flag of the night. So Messiah Mickens, he's a freshman to be watched in the state. You saw why in that 30-yard game.
And just like that. But there was a miscue on the snap right here.
Here's the officials tonight. Jay Rowan, a familiar name out of District 2. This is an all District 2 officials down here tonight. We've seen Jay this year on our Friday Night Rivals telecast, haven't we?
We did. We saw him. He did the Crestwood Hazleton game for us.
So this will go. There you see part of the Wildcat. Mickens fell down on him, but this will go against the Shamrocks. 5 yards. So give them a first and long. Back inside their own territory.
Trinity's offensive line averages 250 pounds across the boards, and the defense for Southern is only 220. But look at the way they are flying to the ball.
Mickens going nowhere. They read that. He was out of the Wildcat. Bloom in there on the tackle, as well as Fedorov.
Look how they're just coming right off the blocks, and you see 1, 2, 3, 4. They just keep pursuing to the whistle. And that's what makes the Southern Columbia Tiger defense so special that way. Also
special. Isaac Carter, he's the kicker. He's been the kicker for like 3 years. Coach needs a defensive end. Hey, how about you, 43? And he's hit 26 total tackles for Isaac Carter and thrown up in and out of the hands of Tanny Young, the sophomore. And it wiggled a little bit, but you can see maybe Trinity wants to throw the ball.
Well, they're trying to, and he's got a little bit of time. There's no pressure. He dropped his elbow on that ball, and it almost looked like it was a punt the way that it was going.
But it did hit the hands. And
it did. He got it where it's got to be, but not as effective as they wanted.
Young, 16 catches on the year, 3 touchdowns. He also can run the ball. So in 3rd and long, this is where Southern wants this Trinity team. And Mickens was moving in the backfield, and I think some of the jitters and the nerves and everything that goes around a game like this may be hitting the Shamrocks team here early. Wow. They just need to settle down.
True. But with Mickens going, he was going lateral, so I don't know if they called it on him or if the other slot back moved. Because the running backs are allowed to go left and right as long as they don't obviously go towards the line of scrimmage. Bob, like you said about the defensive end before, the kicker.
Isaac Carter.
Carter. You know, this is the next man up mentality we talk about. And Southern is a different type of community, especially with their program. How these kids, they want to get on the field any way they can. And Carter parlayed a kicking into a starting defensive end spot, and he's doing a really nice job.
So the 5 yards will back up Trinity even more and make it 3rd and a really long. And I think they're just trying to adjust the clock. They do. So Ray will call out his signals. And they're just going to give it to Mickens, and he is going nowhere. And the aforementioned number 43 was in there along with Bloom on the TFL.
I'll tell you what, number 50 for Trinity, Misi Eli is 300-pounder, and he just could not help. He couldn't block. Those guys are just bringing it right now. I'm telling you, there's something in Southern's eyes, all the players' eyes tonight. I mean, they know how hungry they are and where they should be at this point.
They have refocused after that Mount Carmel loss, and as I mentioned, a 6-game winning streak. And we have another flag. Oh, so this is really going to slow the game down. A couple other local teams. The mic here isn't working. In the stadium, I should add. So that's another 5 yards. 2 other teams in our area. Crestwood in the 4A semifinals for the States, and Canton is in the single A against Steel High down at Shamokin. We'll give you some scores throughout on those 2 teams. So Bakovic is backed up now, all the way back to his own 20-yard line to boot this one away. We got another flag.
Right now, Coach Hill is good. He's beside himself because the kids really are feeling a little bit of pressure. You're going against a 5-time state champ or 6-time state champ. Go ahead. And it's just crazy, that these kids are so young. They're so inexperienced in terms of this level when it gets this caliber. The state semifinal games here. So, yeah, they are nervous, but it is Southern. Oh.
High snap. Bakovic gets it. This is partially tipped, I think. May have been blocked. It takes a Southern bounce, and it's going to end up a negative punt for Trinity. Oh, my. Southern will have the ball at the Trinity 24-yard line.
Look at that snap. He again, number 44 is a tall guy for for Trinity, and that ball was snapped high. He got it, got tipped, and then it took Southern Columbia bounce.
So a short field now for Southern, already up 7-0, trying to get back to the finals. The 7th straight year. Barnes tossed. Flag comes in. This is coming back. This is going to be a hold. Thrown from the referee. So nice run by Barnes, but as I mentioned, I think we got a flag on the play. This could be holding.
If my eyes are working properly, Braden Wisloski is going to be the culprit being called because he was playing at that slot position for the Tigers.
After the penalty, it is holding. We'll give you Crestwood is down 7-0. Bishop McDevitt after the first quarter. That is down in Reading. Bishop McDevitt out of District 3 as well.
And Canton is losing 7-0 to Steelton High Spire, which is Coach Hill's former alma mater from Trinity.
So this puts the ball back to the 33 for the Tigers after the hold. Barnes looking for room. He has a little bit of a gap. Taken down by Wyan. Gets about 10 yards back after the penalty.
Watch this on this replay that we have coming up. Just how effective these Southern Columbia Tigers are with this wing tee. And he's so patient when he's running in there.
That's Carden Madden, actually, yeah.
Another new guy in there. They're just getting their guys and putting them in there and making sure that they can make things happen.
Madden, the junior, will be back next year. But Barnes now behind Weiss. 9 guys in. Weiss going to throw. Barnes makes a nice catch, but an even better job out there reading that was Wyan. And we're going to have a loss of 2 on the pass.
You'll see this right here. A nice one-arm grab right there. Gets it in there, but nice job, good pursuit, good angles by Trinity's defense, especially Wyand.
Trinity coming in, giving up 20 points per game, 270 yards on the total offense. They have 20 interceptions on the year and 5 fumble recoveries. Inside hand to Wisloski with a hole. Makes a move. We have another flag come in. This one's coming back. Barnes is pleading with Jay Rowan, but I think this is another hold against the Tigers. It is. That long run negated. We can see the hold.
And they go with a double reverse on the Sally play, and you saw he drop stepped and he shielded him, but then he grabbed him, and that's where you can't do that, especially when you have an official right behind you.
Well, this Trinity team gave up 328 yards this year to West Perry in a loss. That's their highest run differential for this Trinity defense. Against Camp Hill, Camp Hill only gained 32 yards, minus 32 yards on the ground.
Well, this is where Trinity really wants to get Southern in third and long situations. But this is on account of the penalties right now.
Pitch, Barnes has block and gets to the outside. He's got the first down and more to the 10. A perfect storm renovations first down on a 17-yard gain for West Barnes. First and goal, Southern.
West Barnes, they just go with that toss play. And look at how they all sidestep down there to block. And look at him. He's just running so strong and so fast. Talking with Coach Roth before the game, one of the things that he says is one of their secrets to their successes is that he tries to keep the kids' legs fresh, especially this late in the season. Their practices, they execute on the mental parts, but they're really not doing a lot of physical conditioning because at this time in the year, they should be in shape.
Wisloski cut back inside the 5, taken down there. Gets up a little bit gingerly. Wiloski heading to Maryland, of course. He's gained over 1,600 yards this year, 24 touchdowns, and had to pick up the slack in those games that Barnes missed.
And he got beat up pretty good there, being the workhorse for the Tigers.
Another penalty comes in. The 8th already in this first quarter.
Well, everyone's under scrutiny of PIAA right now. We have officials from PIAA making sure the officials are doing what they're supposed to do. So
illegal procedure going to be against Southern Columbia, back them up to the 10 inside the Allied Services red zone.
And the officials, believe it or not, they'll get a copy of the game, and the state actually will grade the officials at each game to make sure they're doing what they have to do. So that's why, right now you might be getting a little frustrated seeing the yellow flags, but they know they're on the spot. They got to call the game perfect.
Toss to Barnes. He has the speed, and it's another Blaze Alexander touchdown for number 3, Wes Barnes. So after that short punt, Southern makes them pay.
You see that they go with the toss play on there. Everybody down blocks, which created that outside alley for Wes Barnes to get in there for that touchdown.
Barnes going to Clarion University to wrestle, not play football for the Golden Eagles. And wrestling is going to be starting. Basketball starts tonight. Winter sports open tonight all around the area. And Carter's PAT is up and good. 2:54 left in the first, 14-0 Southern.
Here we go with that play. You see Barnes just gets in there. And again, they just down block, and they just bottleneck all the white jerseys so that the outside, right side of the line of scrimmage is wide open for him to get in there for that touchdown. And Bob, you mentioned that he's going to Clarion for wrestling. Very good wrestling school. And as a football coach, I always loved having wrestlers on the team because they've got such good hand-foot coordination, and along with their eye coordination, they really are aware of how their bodies work that way, and they just were always great defenders and running backs for us.
The Crestwood scored 6-0. Little error on the scoreboard for us. Canton still trailing in their game, but right here, Southern Columbia headed to Cumberland Valley. The winner tonight will play Steel High or Westinghouse next Friday at 1 at Cumberland Valley High School. Not Hershey anymore, folks. So we're wondering, if you win tonight, what do you throw out there?
Well, Cumberland Valley used to be like a 7-Eleven store back when I was growing up, so I hope they don't throw quarts of milk out there.
Wyan returns this one, and the Southern special teams right there to meet them at the 12. So a long field for Trinity to get anything going.
I'll tell you, Trey Wyan on that one, this 6'3", 198-pound senior, refused to go down. He just kept grinding his legs and avoiding tackles and doing a nice job trying to keep their Trinity team. Let's go, and let's just get one play done at a time.
There is the coach of the Shamrocks, Jordan Hill. And if his name sounds familiar, it should. Played at Penn State. He was an all-Big 12 in 2012. Third-round draft pick of the Seattle Seahawks in 2013. And what happened that year for the Seahawks, Coach?
Oh, the Super Bowl?
They won a Super Bowl.
I think
That's
they call
right.
it, yeah.
So Jordan Hill on the sidelines, as Coach mentioned, out of Steel High, but now he's really taking this Trinity program to the next level.
And having so many young kids buy into the program, they're just going to be good for the next few years. And you'll just see this in there. Look, he just gets that. Look at that gap out there. Number 14, I talked about Trey before, doing a great job stalk blocking. The offensive coordinators for Trinity, their co-coordinators, Eric Reeser and Kevin Yarnovich, I was talking with them earlier at the before the game, and they were excited about how young they are, but they knew this is going to be a tough task for them this evening.
Last year, Trinity was 2-8. The year before that, 3-7. So it's a big rise for them into the state semifinals.
Christian Book Joy on that one. Yep.
Book takes the handoff for a couple.
But boy, does Arnold just drops the hammer on him in here. You think there was the hole right there, and he just did a great job scraping and then filling that gap and making the tackle.
Well, right now, I think Trinity's first thing, get a first down.
That's-
They do have a long run by Mickens.
Sure.
But then penalties hurt them on the last drive.
Well, it did, and let's see how they respond. They're 3rd and short right now. I would think Mickens is getting the ball, probably on an ISO play in here, a power play.
He does. It's going to be close. He was stood up immediately by Fedorov and Krebs. And number 31, Colton Bloom.
There's Coach Roth, the all-time winningest coach in Pennsylvania history.
No gain on the play, so here comes the punt team again for Jordan Hill's team. And it's another 3 and out. As we're under 1 minute here, 14-0 Tigers in this AA state semifinal.
Well, you see the Trinity players, some of them are coming out a little late. Again, they're just nervous and excited to be here, but they've got to play ball.
Better snap this time. Pekovitz, line drive kick. Takes a nice southern bounce all the way down to the 35-yard line. We haven't taken a look at them. We saw them already, but here's the Blakes Alexander Family Dealerships Southern Columbia offense coach, Wazlowski, Murphy, Barnes already getting into the act with Weiss. When they do throw the ball, maybe they get it to Kerstetter, Kozlowski, but really the health of this team has been up front. They've been healthy all year long.
And to have 4 seniors up there doing their job. And I was looking at Logan Sharrow, the left tackle, who's 6'4". He's only 200 pounds, but he does a great job with this blocking scheme, which is all about creating angles and lanes for the running backs.
So from their own 35, here come the Tigers. Weiss to throw to Wazlowski, and it's going to be overthrown. Wazlowski turned on the Jets at the last second, but that will go incomplete.
What a great call. You're wing T, you've got a 3-headed monster in there with Murphy, Wazlowski, and you know, Barnes. Now, what are we going to do? We're going to throw the ball on 1st and 10. So
how about this for a stat? Since that loss to Mount Carmel, we had them in that game. They've only attempted 21 passes in that 6 games.
3 passes.
Their last touchdown pass was against Lyon Mountain November 4th in the first round of the playoffs. So they do not throw the ball, Southern. So Coach Roth is trying to mix it in a little bit. Back to the ground, Wazlowski. Schlager there rides him, and we got a flag coming in. So we'll see. Let's see what the flag is after the 5-yard gain. Can't see on this side. Could be face mask, holding. Let's see what they have to say. This District 2 officials tonight.
And the flag was actually thrown in front of where the ball carrier was. So I'm interested to see what they do have on this one. Oh. I didn't see what the call was there from Jay Rowan, but he did point to Southern.
Defense holding. Maybe an offensive hold.
Oof.
So back snap. Let's see if we can see it. It's right towards the tail end. On Wazlowski right there.
Yep.
So Wazlowski call for the holding back to the 25 for the Tigers. Already up 14-0 here late in the first quarter. Quick pitch to Barnes. And you see how quick he hits the hole, picks up 5, and that should do it for this first quarter. The 12-time state champions on their way maybe to another finals. Quarter number 2 is on the way. The Tigers over the Shamrocks 14-0.
You're watching Allied Services Friday Night Rivals, presented by Tom Hesser Dealerships on MyTV WQMY.
Yes, folks, we are in December, bundled up out there. Not a cold night like Danville was a couple weeks ago for us. Jan wouldn't know.
I would know.
But still, you got to get the hats out tonight. You got the gloves, you got the layers on, and you got a nice crowd here for Southern as well. Their team leads 14-0 in the PIAA AA semifinals. Bye-bye, Jan Cechek. Glad you could join us here. Final Friday Night Rivals game of the season already. Quick handoff inside to Wazlowski. He's got some jets. Couple moves for the senior. Wazlowski inside Shamrock territory. Tough to take down. All the way to 26 goes Brandon Wazlowski on the first play of the second quarter. And we have an injured Trinity player.
Number 75,
And a flag.
I believe. They go with the double reverse on this, which they scored a touchdown earlier. Wazlowski, look at this. Breaks, keeps it going, stiff arm, spins. He's just, I mean, he's a state track winner. You know, PIAA, oh, it's against.
Against Southern again, the injured Shamrock player is Luke Britton, a 6'2 junior, number 75, and he looked like he was in a little bit of pain. Flag goes, as you mentioned, against Southern, way downfield. So it is a Perfect Storm Renovations first down, but it'll back the ball up after the 43-yard gain. Here's what Southern this year, of course, it's no secret. They lost 3 games, folks, this year. Whoa, 3 games, but 3 very good teams.
Oh, my gosh. I mean, Loyal Sock had a great, tremendous season. They got their first win over Southern, I think, in 10 years it was. Mount Carmel, we knew, was loaded. I mean, don't think Central Columbia, I don't think beat them, but, yeah.
That should be Danville.
Yeah, Danville. I mean, those 3 teams we just talked about advanced into the state finals, and they only had 1 loss.
So
Good.
3 losses for Southern this year, but doesn't matter. All that matters is how you're playing now, and they're playing pretty good, folks. After the penalty, it's 1st and 10 from the 45.
And we saw number 75 get up on his own accord.
Well, Barnes gets a lot of that back. Give him 23. So the 2-headed monster is back. Barnes and Wazlowski.
They just go with the inside ISO on that, and this is what makes them so tough to defend. You think they're going outside, your linebackers start to over-pursue, and then they come back with an inside play like that, and they trap the linebacker with the fullback coming up on them, and they just get big grounds of real estate.
Back inside again, Wazlowski. Perfect Storm Renovations first down inside the Allied Services red zone to the 9. 20 more for 24.
Huge yardage right here being gained. Look at all the black jerseys that are at the 2nd and 3rd level, which are creating the mismatches that they need to gain that type of real estate in this game right now.
Third time the Tigers are inside the Allied Services red zone. They've scored twice. This guy has 2 touchdowns. Barnes puts his head down. Ridden down by Schlager at the 11.
Well, he has 15 touchdowns now on the season, Barnes does. And in here again, you just see how they're just grinding it out. And Barnes is as a wrestler, I mean, they just have a different type of body type where they're just, if you look at this young man, it's just, he's all muscle. I mean, everywhere.
Schlager, 127 total tackles coming in. They're going to need all of those tonight. Wazlowski trying to get a block. He's taken outside. Only a short gain. Good job by the Shamrocks on defense there to string that out.
A host of white jerseys there. You'll see right in here. Here he comes again. They go to that outside wing. They go to that sweep, and Wazlowski right in there, stiff arms. And look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 white jerseys right there in good pursuit to shut him down and not let him get into the end zone.
Number 6, Emil Way, sophomore, with the tackle for the Rocks. So 3rd and goal. I should say 3rd and 2. They can get a first down.
Full house backfield.
Murphy in, and he is in for a Blaze Alexander Southern Columbia touchdown. Loudon Murphy in for the score, his 7th touchdown on the year.
They go that full house, and you saw the first 2 backs through, the left back, Barnes and Wazlowski, and then Murphy on the right side. He just followed that big offensive line up in there and bounced his way in for his first touchdown of the evening.
So Carter on for the PAT. He's got the long jersey on tonight underneath the uniform. Kick is up, and it is good. So another short drive, 8 plays, 65 yards. The Tigers extend the lead now, 21-0. Welcome back to Sealands Grove, Harold Bullock Stadium in the beautiful town of Sealands Grove, Pennsylvania, home of Susquehanna University. Bob Ide, Jan Cechak, our final Friday Night Rivals game of 2022, and it's the PIAA AA semifinals. Southern up 21-0. Carter short on this one. Wyan from his 15 has a time for a return. This is Kabawana, the junior. Cole brings it up for a nice gain, and the Shamrocks will have good field position for this drive near midfield.
That's what the Shamrocks need right now. They've got a good position to start this drive. Now, all they have to do is just keep getting a first down. That's going to be what Coach Hill told them. I was reading in some of the other articles when they were down and behind in previous games. All he said was, guys, do your job. Do you want this to be your last game? Is this how you want to be remembered? And I'm sure that's probably the speech he's going to talk to. And these kids know what they have to do to try to beat a very good Southern Columbia team.
Joy in the backfield with Ray. Mickens, he'll try to get to the outside, but Southern strings him out. And what a tackle. And having a good night is Bloom, the junior, who shoots right in.
Boy, Colden Bloom, 6 foot, 200-pound junior. They go with motion, the speed motion, speed sweep, and look, he just read it. Barnes took on the initial blocker, which allowed Bloom to come in there and just blow that play up for a 7-yard or 6-yard loss.
8-yard loss on that. Games like this, to me, come down to your strength of schedule as we have a timeout on the field. Strength of schedule, the league you play in. We know Southern has 3 losses. We know who they lost to. You know what I mean? Loyalsock,
right.
Danville, Mount Carmel, all playoff teams. Danville, maybe the best team in District 4, but had to face Wyomissing last week and almost won, by the way.
Yes,
so
they did. Overtime.
You go to strength of schedule. They play in the mid-pen, down at Trinity. It's really good football. Obviously, Bishop McDevitt does
very good football.
Very good football. I'm not sure if they're used to seeing a Southern team like this that's a little more physical than they're used to seeing, maybe.
Well, what we're seeing from Southern is a lot of speed. Wyomissing, when we did them last year, they look like a Division III, how big they run in the wing T. But that Penn Mid-League, I mean, they didn't see the same caliber teams that Southern saw.
Okay, but so Jordan Hill, what does he do? He looks at his schedule. He says, I need to toughen it up. So he goes out. He gets Roman Catholic, a loss. Wyomissing, a loss. West Perry, a loss. Steel High, a loss. They're all excellent teams. So he knows already his team needs to see better competition. So he's going to, no matter what happens tonight, Coach, right, he's going to come back and say, look at, great hit in there. He's going to say, look at, we're facing best competition. It's going to make us better. Now, on the field, big hit. Flag also in there. Mickens, as he gets nailed.
We always talk about, coaches, if you want to be the best, you got to play the best.
Going to go against the Rocks.
I'll tell you what, that was a heck of a hit by Wisłowski. Watch this coming in. Bam, right there. Wow.
Murphy had him. Wisłowski teed him up.
And I talked to Coach George Hwanitz last year when they were scrimmaging Southern in the only scrimmage of the year, and it was like about 95 degrees. And I said, Coach, I said, it's a long bus ride. You came down here. Can I ask you why? And he said, because we want to play the best. We got to be the best.
Well, Ray is taking the best and feeling the best. Arnold for the first sack of the day all the way back to the 30-yard line.
Watch this. They're just bringing the pressure, and they just drop him. He had no time, nowhere to go. Those young offensive linemen for the Shamrocks right now are overwhelmed. And then when you start looking and seeing the defender's jersey number going by you, that's not a good sign.
8th sack of the year for the senior Arnold. The 19th sack of the year for this Southern Columbia team. 4th down, another punt now for Trinity. Should give Southern excellent field position again. Bukovic, he gets the leg in this one. Best punt of the night. Wozlowski gets out of the way, takes a shamrock bounce, and Southern will have a little bit to go. Down at the, 16-yard line. So we're starting field position tonight for Southern, but they're already up 21-0. Some other scores. Crestwood losing to Bishop McDevitt, second quarter, 13-0. Canton Steel High, last time I looked, coach, tied at 7.
And we are, I'm checking that right now, Robert. Yep, 7-7. Yep, 13-0 McDevitt over Crestwood.
We'll try to get you a Steel High and Westinghouse score. They're also playing tonight. In the West, gets called, quote, the western part of the bracket. All the brackets are not the same like that anymore. So Arnold's in as quarterback. He hands off. And it's Barnes who shoots through for a 9-yard gain.
You'll see number 59 in there stands up and he took a side. And unfortunately, Barnes is such an experienced running back. He saw which side he went, and he went opposite. Barnes went opposite, and he just gashed them now for 8 yards.
20-0 now, Bishop McDevitt. 3:20 left in the second quarter, according to Steve Bennett from the Citizens Voice. Bishop McDevitt, of course, runner-up last year. 6 Division I players on that team. Arnold keeps it. He has a Perfect Storm Renovations first down. Gain of almost 12.
Well, the wing tee is a misdirection type of thing. And look at this. He goes fakes, and that was a quarterback design keep. And you see Barnes, he did his job. He stepped up. He put his hands up so he couldn't get called for holding again. Nice play call. I'll tell you, the Tigers, they look, Bob, like they did of old.
Yeah.
I mean, the way they're playing right now and executing.
And, Trinity may be a little bit shell-shocked here. Not used to seeing this. Again, Barnes, Perfect Storm Renovations first down. Gain of 12. Another first down near midfield.
That's the wing power right there. And a term I'm going to use right now is always given to the defensive side, playing aggressive. Offensively, Southern Columbia is coming out of the gates like frothing at the mouth. They are really, really aggressive towards this younger defense that they're playing right now, and they've got them on their heels.
Now look how quickly Barnes hits that hole. He's already into the secondary, and a 9-man front, and he is down inside the Allied Services red zone to the 15. 35-yard gain for Barnes.
You'll just see that when they run their offense, this is nothing. It's an outside ISO. It's a power play. The front side guard, the left guard, Jude Bremingen is lead blocking, and the halfback is going out there. This young man, they missed him sorely in those losses. He played in 9 games and had 7 100-yard gains. And right now, I think he's probably close to another 100-yard game.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. I'm going to add those up quickly. This is the Maryland recruit. He's going to go almost untouched, loses the ball. They're going to call it a fumble, flag down, so a lot going on near the end zone. Trinity recovers the ball in the end zone. No signal yet. And I think somebody is down. And that maybe is Wozlowski. It is.
It is. So I was trying to see who that was down, but our camera crew, again, are the top in the business right now. So let's see. They go with the wing counter. Here he comes. I'm trying to see what the penalty could possibly be. It's got to be what they're going to call probably a hold.
Yeah, he came back down on his knee or something.
The way he came back, yeah.
Yeah, he was reaching for the end zone, was Braden. He lost the ball. It was recovered from Trinity. Here, another
Different
angle.
view. Coming in.
Oh, clip there.
Yeah. Actually, number 14 did a nice job with the tomahawk on the ball.
Wozlowski is up. There you saw the call. The ball will go over to Trinity on the fumble. Nice job by Wyan, as you mentioned. good to see Braden back up. Looks like he's pointing to his
ribs. Yeah,
to his ribs. So we'll see if we see him again, already up 21-0. So Trinity get a break there. They'll have the ball at their own 20-yard line after the fumble.
Well, good heads-up play by the Shamrocks. Now, what can they do? We just saw Southern start at their own 16 and march all the way down the field. Now, Trinity's going to have to do the same thing. They're going to have to just string together good offensive plays, get some great blocks from that young offensive line, and get the ball into Mickens' hands.
Ray's going to go back, try to sail it out there, trying to hit Schlager out of the backfield. It goes incomplete.
So we're going to look at the turnover one more time here. You'll see there's that wing sweep coming across. And right in here, watch what he does with that his right hand. As you teach these players defensively, you want to grasp with your first hand. Your offhand, you want to come in, either tomahawk it or you want to try to strip it somehow. So that drill, as you can see, folks, that's how it's done. Trey Wyan, nice job. He's a veteran up there, though. Go ahead, Bob.
If you're the Shamrocks, I know you want to pass the ball, but Southern Columbia has 7 touchdowns this year, pick 6-wise, Coach. So you might want to throw it, but they have 7 interceptions for a touchdown this year.
Well, and we would scout Southern Columbia, and you think the only place you can exploit them is in their secondary. And when you get a statistic like that, that's just incredible.
So 3rd down and about 5 after the 5-yard gain. And you see Jordan Hill looking right at the sticks.
Yeah, and Coach Hill, I mean, he's only in his 2nd year here at Trinity, and he's already got these kids in the state playoffs.
Mickens around, puts his head down. There you see the power from the freshman. But did he lose the ball? He lost the ball, and he's going to be short of the 1st down.
And they're going to call him down by contact in here. And just watch the strength he has. He's got the ball. He covers it up, keeps the legs grinding in there. He's still jumping, puts a hand down there for balance.
You saw his knee.
Yeah, his knee was down. They did punch the ball out, but again, his knee was down.
So Coach Hill not going to roll the dice, down 21-0 in his own side of the field. He'll bring Pekovitz back on, who averages 32 punt yards. Doesn't belong to 53 this season.
The last punt he had was a tremendous punt.
Yeah, it was. Good snap. This is a good kick. It is Wozlowski back down there, so he must be feeling better. Braden finds room to the outside, and he's inside Trinity territory to the 40. So it's a net of just about 10 yards off the punt after the nice return from Braden Wozlowski.
Wozlowski, if anybody had doubts about him, watch this. He goes up in there. He steps up like a quarterback into the pocket. 3 guys there. Eludes another defender. Stops, shakes, and bakes. And now, again, because of the wrap, the rest of the Trinity team came over and dropped them. But puts them in great field position.
Barnes straight up the middle. Big hole for Wes Barnes. Sheds a couple tackles. And he's in for a Blaze Alexander Dealerships Southern Columbia touchdown. 40 yards for Wes Barnes. He's over 100 yards on the night.
Well, Coach Roth was worried about that second-tier linebacker play. And right now, the Southern Columbia offensive line is getting to that, and they're decimating them. And Barnes is just picking them apart and just, wow. What a great burst.
His 3rd touchdown of the night, his 16th of this season, and his 19th in his career. So Southern putting on a clinic here against a young Trinity team, District 3 champs. So they've run into this juggernaut who's on a roll. Carter's kick is good, 28-0, 4:08 remaining in the 1st half.
Well, Southern Columbia, this football team, you would think, people were saying the critics were saying, oh, it's not Southern Columbia team. They have 3 losses this year. They're not doing anything, not going anywhere. But they're proving everybody wrong.
You know who knew that? Mount Carmel. The second time they played Mount Carmel, right? Wes Barnes is back. Both Wislowski and Barnes that night have their longest gains of the year on the ground.
Against Danville.
Against Mount Carmel. The second time. So Barnes is back, 24 carries, 177 yards.
Wow.
Wislowski, 16 carries, 188 yards and 3 touchdowns. And, of course, Mount Carmel loses that game 48-18.
That was a
And
payback.
that's the day you knew. That's the day you knew this Tiger team was going to be back, and most likely going back to the state finals again.
What's interesting is a lot of fans have jackets and sweatshirts, and it says expected. And that's what that community's about in Southern Columbia.
Another nice return for Capuana up to the 35.
Well, the junior returner, Cole Capuana, 5'7", 142 yards. That's 2 returns now that he's helping contribute to try to get the Shamrocks back into this game somehow, some way.
It's been a bunch of series since Trinity has had a first down. So your goal number 1 should be getting that. Ray back out. Mickens sheds a tackle. You see how strong he is. He made something out of nothing to gain 1 yard.
Well, short passing is what they're going to have to try to do. Attack Southern that way, get the ball out of the quarterback's hands quick. Pass was kind of like in back of him, back-shouldered, and he's just a strong 197-pound freshman that's got some jets to him, and 3 more years of weightlifting. That young man's going to be a phenom.
There's Isaac Carter. Don't call me a kicker. I'm a defensive end.
He's kicking some butt right now from his defensive end spot. They just come right in there.
That's the previous play,
That's the
Ernie.
previous play.
Didn't Ernie tell us he wasn't going to do that tonight?
I think he was just going to see
There
if
we
we
go.
were paying attention. Look at that. They just are blowing right through the gaps. The offensive line, there's some slight confusion that they have that they're not sure they're blocking assignments. It's not like Southern Columbia is doing a lot of shifting and stunning or anything. They're just playing their base defense.
Flags all over the place. So in my spare time here, I've been adding up numbers on Wes Barnes. As Jay Rowan will, Mike not working tonight in the stadium. 10 carries for Wes Barnes, 183 yards and 2 touchdowns.
18-yard carry, average carry. I think that's close to what he. Jeez, it's amazing. And folks, what he's doing is really attributing to that offensive line, and that's what these young men will do at the end of the game. They're going to thank their offensive line and saying, you know, I couldn't do it without them. And these kids are just working their tails off.
Ray looking, has a receiver in and out of the hands of Young again. That's his second drop of the night. Nice pass from Ray, but Tenny Young, the sophomore, couldn't pull it in, and another punt now for this Shamrock team.
Well, drop balls and then missed blocks are really contributing to the struggle of Trinity at this point in time. They've got some things they can fix, and as I said earlier, Southern's not doing anything crazy on defense. They just have to clean up their blocking assignments, and they'll probably start getting some success.
High hanging kick. Wislowski lost the handle and gets it back. No, turnover. Capuana recovers for Trinity. So a break for the Shamrocks. They'll have the ball deep inside Tiger territory at the 21.
It looked like Wislowski was starting to leave a little bit early, and what I mean by that is that he didn't look the ball completely in. He started to move, and he took his eyes off the ball because he saw the defenders coming, and that's where they got that big turner. Now, Capuana, we were talking about his punt returns. There's kick returns. Now he just did a huge special team.
To the end zone, but Ray is hit, and it's almost picked off.
Wow.
And Ray is down. That was a huge hit on the quarterback.
And the receiver was open. And I thought, wow, here we go. That's a great, great call to come back. Big turnover. He's hurt. The quarterback's out for this play. He was just starting to get it, and he got hit in the ribs. The ball popped up. I really thought that the receiver, number 11, was going to get that.
Loudon Murphy blitzed, and he got him. Ray is out. Joy is the wing, is the quarterback. And here come the Tigers. String them out. And a flag comes in way downfield from the back judge. We'll take a look at this hit on the quarterback as we see what the call is.
Here we go, right there. Oh, he just, not a dirty hit. Look at how Barnes laid out for that ball trying to get that pick.
This one's going to go against Trinity.
Sometimes the coaching, you get really frustrated when your kids aren't playing, and now it's like you're playing against the 12th person, which are the officials. There's been a ton of flags this first half that, you know, the coaches don't want to see, but it is unfortunately part of the game.
So this backs the ball up all the way to the 36-yard line for a second down play for the Shamrocks. Inside handoff to Joy. He's tripped up. Gain of about 6.
Still brings up a third and super long. They just go with the inside dive on this, trying to make something happen, trying to gain some of the yardage back.
Joy with 667 yards, just a sophomore again, very young team are the Shamrocks. At halftime, Westinghouse leads Steel Valley, 6-0. That will be the opponent right now for Southern Columbia next week.
Crestwood's losing 26-0 right now.
So a timeout going to be called by Jordan Hill. He wants to talk to his Shamrock team on the sidelines on this third down, really in 4-down territory here. So already a big night from Barnes, from Wisloski, Murphy, everything going the Tigers' way. And here's what Trinity faced this year. We talked about what Jordan Hill wanted to do.
Yep, Delone Catholic is a rivalry of theirs. Roman Catholic, a powerhouse. Wyomissing, state champs. Western Perry, another contender in the States. And then you see they just went on a nice little 3-game run there. They had a forfeit against Middletown. They lost to Steel High, and then they went back on the 4-game win streak. So they really have played some tough teams.
And again, they have 2 state championships, Trinity does. In 2010, they won the AA title, and in 2002. Well, that's District 3 champions, excuse me. So their third District 3 championship, their third one in the 2000s. They've never been to the finals. Here comes the blitz. Ray hit again low, and it's intercepted. Picked off by number 6, Jake Hoy, his 6th interception on the year. Oh, that's number 8, Jake Tozlowski, his 4th interception.
Well, watch this hit. They send a blitz. He's getting hit high and low, gets the ball off into double coverage. Ray couldn't find anything in there, or Wideland, and wow. Bob, how many interceptions did they have for returns, did you say earlier?
7 for a touchdown.
Yeah.
And that's their 22nd interception on the season.
That's just, and as we were discussing earlier, everyone thought that secondary was going to be their weakness, and it's ended up being a strong point for them.
From the 10 was Lasky. Good job by Trinity this time. There's Schlager. We talked about him in the pregame. And Max doing his best. Could be his final game. He had 14 total tackles against West Perry this year.
Southern, we got an injured Tiger right there.
Madden.
That's who it looked like.
We have a timeout on the field with 1:39 left. And our number 3 team, Southern Columbia, with a huge 28-0 lead. Trying to get back to the finals, try to win their 13th overall, 6th straight championship.
Incredible.
And Jim Roth, of course, the all-time winningest coach in state history, just keeps adding on to that.
It's amazing. And speaking with some of the players before the game, and as a broadcaster, I didn't want to really bring it up, but I had to because it's just my personality. And I said to Barnes, I said, you weren't a part of those 3 losses. And he said, Coach, we let our own coach down. So we have to make up for it, and they are on a mission to get that state title.
They are, and they've really upped that intensity in the playoffs with big wins like over Line Mountain, Troy, who has had an excellent season this year, and then, of course, that win over the Red Tornadoes in the district championship game. So after the timeout, Weiss going to throw it, and he connects to Wisloski, but it's actually going to be a loss of 2.
I was really surprised. I thought he would just grind it out here to get out of the half. And again, no, he's opening it up. He's saying we're going to keep the pedal to the metal. We're going to try different things.
I think Coach Roth is already looking towards next week. Quick pitch to Barnes. And he's got a perfect storm renovations first down, and if he wasn't tripped up, he'd still be running. So a gain of 20. Not bad on 3rd and long. You just pitch it to Barnes, and he gets 20.
And you see the stalk blocking that's occurring on the outside. He was actually brought down by the 25-yard line. That's where he tripped over.
Well, he's over 200 yards in the first half already for West Barnes. This is going to be Madden. Following his blocks, about a 3-yard gain. We're under a minute to play here. And doesn't look like anybody wants to call another timeout. Nope, Coach Roth will. Just like that. So Coach Roth thinking ahead. And he'll tell you, in the state championship game, it's a little bit different. I've seen him go down and throw the ball a little more because he knew that whoever their opponent was going to be was going to stack the box.
Sure.
And they would wear him down, and we'll see what happens this year. But Westinghouse leading Steel Valley.
And you have right now, an opponent that is going to be going full speed, which you can never replicate during practice. So he's going to try doing some of these pass plays. But I think he's also thinking if we can tack another one on now, come out second half, they're going to be kicking off. Or no, they're going to be receiving.
Yep.
They're going to be receiving. They would love to have that 35-point mercy rule in effect to get his kids out of here a lot quicker. Wow. I'm just impressed at how well Southern has played. When we did the game against Mount Carmel with them earlier in the season, they didn't look like themselves, but they didn't have Barnes in there in that mix. And Wisloski really was taking the brunt of the balls and really taking a lot of bodily hits, which, he was getting worn out.
Oh, Murphy has a touchdown tonight. Barnes a couple. Wisloski. Oh, a little wheel route to Madden. Wheel route, as I was going to say.
Mm-hmm.
And Madden had a step on his defender, but just didn't go into his hands, so that falls incomplete. 42 seconds left.
Blake Weiss's passing game has improved. He's starting to really, for a wing T running game, he's starting to understand where the ball's got to be, and he's done a nice job getting a nice tight spiral in there for these receivers to try and catch.
Pitch again to Barnes on third down. Schlager does a nice job reading that. So that'll bring up fourth down. As Jordan Hill called timeout now.
Well, they go with the toss play, and the Shamrocks are playing their 4-4, and they're bringing the outside linebackers up on the line, so it looks like a 6-2. So they're kind of packing the box, and they're starting to pursue, and they're really going to have a big, tall order in the second half to shut down the Tigers.
It's a big first half for the Southern Columbia Tigers. They lead the Trinity Shamrocks 28-0 at the half in this PIAA AA semifinal. Coming up during the Toyota Halftime Report, we'll go to the Fox 56 News First and 10 studios. We'll have a special interview with our friends from Allied Services with Amanda, and then Jan and I will be back in the booth to break down the first half. It's all Tigers in this one here in Selinsgrove.
Welcome back to Friday Night Rivals on MyTV WQMY. It's halftime and we are at Allied Services, joined now by Laura Marion. Laura, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Laura, can you tell everybody what your position is here at Allied and what you do on your day-to-day basis?
Absolutely. So I'm the Assistant Vice President of Allied Services Hospice and Palliative Programs. I am responsible to oversee 4 levels of care that we provide: community-based palliative care, in-home hospice care, and we have 2 general inpatient hospice care units.
Can you talk a little bit more about the difference between hospice and palliative care?
Absolutely. So the biggest difference between hospice and palliative care is that under palliative care, you can continue to seek aggressive treatment, meaning you have a life-limiting or chronic illness, but you're still seeking aggressive treatments such as chemotherapy, radiation, hemodialysis. So you're not quite ready for comfort care. Hospice care is really focused on whatever days, months, whatever time you have left, we want to make it comfortable and as high quality as possible. And you really can't seek aggressive treatment. So you forego the chemotherapy, the radiation, and our focus is primarily on maintaining the patient's comfort.
And what are the services that you then provide to the patients and their families?
Sure. So on the palliative side, a nurse practitioner will come out to the home and help manage any symptoms related to a chronic illness or life-limiting illness in conjunction with either your primary care physician or your specialist that you're seeking treatment with. On the hospice side, you get a lot more coverage. You have RNs that will come to the house sometimes twice a week, but sometimes daily, depending on the condition of the patient. Home health aides that will provide personal care. Hospice, along with palliative care, is a whole interdisciplinary team approach. So we utilize social work, chaplaincy, volunteers. All of those people make visits. So our goal on both the palliative and hospice care is to not only provide outstanding patient care, but to support and provide family care and helping them understand their chronic and life-limiting illnesses.
How important is that family care during this time?
Probably I couldn't state how important it is. Critically important, because it's not just the patient that's going through this. Of course, the patient is the one that's sick, but it's the loved ones that are the caregivers providing the care and having to watch their loved one go through these illnesses. And they also have to be taught and understand disease trajectory and progression, disease progression. So there's a lot that goes into it.
And I understand you guys are hiring for some of your positions in your department.
Yes, so we're specifically hiring. We have jobs open in both of our hospice units, mostly evening shift positions, part-time positions, and we also have night shift positions available. So if anyone is out there and is interested in a highly gratifying, wonderful job with a really good boss, please call Allied Services Hospice and Palliative.
Laura, what is it that makes working at Allied so wonderful?
So I think it's a couple things. First of all, specifically to hospice and palliative, 100% team approach. we are there for each other. We call ourselves our work family, and it's true. And we're there to celebrate each other's successes and sadnesses together. And I think that makes us really unique. But from a corporate standpoint, from an integrated services standpoint, I have to say that Allied Services really cares about their employees, and they're wonderful to work for. And we have the full support of our executive team, and just from soup to nuts, everyone's great to work with.
Incredible. Laura, thank you so much for taking the time to talk about Allied with us. Stick with us. We'll be back for more football from the second half coming right up.
We are back in Sealands Grove for this PIAA semifinal matchup. Southern Columbia, our Friday night rivals, team number 3 leads Trinity out of District 3, 28-0. We're going to bring it back into the booth. Bob Ide, Jan Seachak, all Tigers in this one.
Wow.
16 first downs for Southern Columbia, just 1 for Trinity. If you look at the stats and you look at the score, it's been all Southern Columbia tonight.
Well, the stats don't lie. 332 yards total offense in the first half for Southern compared to 36 for Trinity. And the touchdowns that Barnes has, 2 on the evening. Murphy has 2 on the evening. Barnes is at 189 yards total. Wisloski, 8 carries for 88 yards. He's been their guy that's gotten big, huge chunks. Just hasn't seen the payday yet in the end zone.
And the defense just dominating this young Trinity team. They have a sack, an interception, and again, Trinity just with 1 first down. They can't really do anything. So, what did Trinity have to do in the second half to even, to come back a little bit?
They've got to, as I was alluding to in the first half, they've got to start getting their blocking scheme down. They are blitzing. Southern is doing more blitzing than I thought they would need to do, but they're just bringing pressure, trying to rattle a young team, which they've done. So they've just got to settle down, pick up your blocking assignments, and get that first down, and just build from there.
But this is a Tiger team. Make no mistake of it. It's on a mission. They want that 6th straight state title. They want to get to Cumberland Valley next week, and it started out quickly when they first got the ball. So let's take a look at the first half highlights. And again, Loudon Murphy got the first carry of the game. He also got the first touchdown of the game.
And again, who would have thought? You would think it would be Wisloski or Braden or Barnes in there. Now there's Barnes. Look at that. Gets that tossed sweep to the outside. Stand-up touchdown. Really nice job by his offensive line. Here we go again. Murphy. They go with the full house backfield. And he just bounces and pings his way in there like a ping ball for the 3rd touchdown of the game. Now they come right back. Barnes right up the gut on this. And he just, look at that. It's just a quick burst, great speed. And he gets in there for the 4th touchdown to put the Tigers up 28-0.
They did have a late interception by Tozlowski, and that's pretty much the way the first half went. We're ready for the 3rd quarter. Both teams are back on the field. One thing maybe to look at, there was 11 penalties in that first half, so this District 2 crew was a little bit flag happy maybe, but didn't really affect too much because Southern kind of dominated, didn't really affect what they did. It affected maybe more what Trinity did in that first half than the Tigers.
It really did. In that first quarter, when they got the ball, there were 3 penalties on themselves. It's just the motion plays that, illegal motions that they had. That was nerves, and that really hurt them because it put them in a deeper position against a very aggressive Tiger defense. So let's see what happens the second half. And again, Coach Hill knows that he's got a young team. They've got to start responding to some of the pressures that the Southern Columbia Tigers are putting on them, and that's a tall order.
As we mentioned, we have 2 other area teams in the state semifinals tonight. In Class A, Canton and Steel High in the second half seem to be going back and forth. Canton now leads Steel High 21-13. They're trying to make their first ever state final game next Thursday. That would be in Class A. In 4A, Crestwood is down in the 3rd quarter 20-0 to Bishop McDevitt out of District 3. So right here, Southern will get the ball to begin. Wisloski and Barnes back. Pavovitz ready to tee it up and get this 3rd quarter underway on a chilly night here in Sealands Grove, Pennsylvania. Glad you could join us for our last Friday Night Rivals game of the year. It's unbelievable, Coach. It almost feels like yesterday, 2 weeks ago, was August 26th. And we had our first game, Lakeland and Scranton Prep. London Montgomery goes down, and, you know, the season's underway, and we had a great year, and our crew's done an awesome job the last couple of weeks, especially in the cool weather. But we're glad you could join us here.
Bob, our crew, just from the replay and the camera angles that these guys give us from the end zone sidelines, a tremendous job. My hat's off to those guys because they're the ones out in the elements braving all this.
Southern gets the ball. They're on their way to possibly another state final. Barnes with the return still on his feet. He gets back to the 35-yard line, and this is where this offense comes back out, Coach. And over 330-some yards of total offense in that first half, 99% of that on the ground.
And Wes Barnes, on that kickoff return, he was very it almost looked like he was jogging because the way it was setting up, and then that's when he tried to come back and try to make a bigger gain. But they got good field position starting at their own 35-yard line.
Their longest drive of the night was an 8-play touchdown drive. Quick pitch. This is Wisloski, still on his feet, banged up in the first half, takes another hit there, but he's inside Rock's territory. 17-yard gain for Wisloski, and a figure law first down.
There's that quick toss they do. And look at all the black jerseys downfield. There were 4 in front of him that are leading the charge for him, and they're doing a tremendous job with their stalk blocks, looking for white jerseys to pick up.
17 yards on that. So first play is positive for Southern Columbia.
Trinity still playing their 4-4, stacking the box in there, covered 3.
2 straight for the senior, headed to Maryland. Picks up 6. What is Coach Roth doing? I'll make this. Barnes was the major carrier in the first half.
Mm-hmm.
Now Wisloski gets the first. Is he just trying to even it out, or does he see something, maybe trying to give one guy a rest?
No, I think he's spreading the ball out, but I think what ultimately he's going to do is now we're going to bring Murphy back into the mix now because, all right, we're going to key on number 24. We're going to key on number 3. Oh, yeah, we forgot about 26.
It's probably just the play calling. Out of the wing tee, right up the middle. That's been successful pretty much all night long to Barnes. It's a figure law first down.
And you see that he's thanking his running backs in there, his wing back. Look at that offensive line. They're stepping downfield looking for work, coming off the ball so fast and so hard. Great job by their offensive line coach there who's been with them forever. Great understanding of this wing tee.
195 yards now for Wes Barnes. This is Murphy. He finds running room. Murphy goes in, but we have a flag. I think this one's coming back. Murphy goes in for the score, but we do have 2 flags down right at the 25-yard line.
And Murphy's showing his speed. When he gets that ball, he's got a great burst, and boy, he's tough to bring down. You saw that on that last play. He's tiptoeing along the sideline, so we're going to see what we got here.
Again, 11 penalties called in the first half, and we have a second half drive now. Jay Rowan out of District 2 calls it, and it's a
offsetting.
So you saw the call, so an offsetting. We'll replay that one.
And here is the replay. They just go with the wing sweep, the buck sweep, and you see that he gets it his outside. Right there's the face mask. But again, great concentration going down that sideline.
Murphy on the year, 389 yards, 6 touchdowns. Does have a long run of 66 this year. And he had to pick up the slack when Wes Barnes went down. No doubt about it.
The experience that he's gained because of that has really helped him. And it's going to launch him in to be that key starting running back next year for the Tigers. But they're only worried about right now.
Wisloski getting strung out a little bit. Oh, here he comes back the other way.
Ooh.
And he takes another big hit. Wisloski taking some big hits tonight.
And that's from our friend Misi Ely on there, and Tucker Payton he really has been taking some shots tonight.
So
Again,
a
they go with
loss
the
of
buck
2.
sweep on that. Number 54, Judd Bremingen, who's 5'9", 200-pound sophomore, leading the way, and he just cuts back. And watch that hit right in there. Textbook hit right there, but those add up after a while. You start getting up a little bit slower.
Yeah, Ely hit him, and Painter cleaned him up. Back to Barnes. Nice block up front. Barnes is off, and Barnes looking for his 3rd score, and it is a Blaze Alexander touchdown. Wes Barnes, 37 yards, and a huge block to string him.
And that puts him well over 200 yards now for the game early in the 3rd quarter. So they just go right there with the handoff, and just a great job accelerating, keeping his bounce. And that's what I was saying about wrestlers. They've got that good coordination in there. And again, he's getting hit, but he keeps his balance, and he bounces in there for another touchdown.
So Barnes takes it in. He has 233 yards now on the night. 3 touchdowns. And if you think he didn't make a difference when he was out, you're mistaken, folks. He makes a huge difference on both sides of the ball. Carter's kick for the PAT is up and good. And we're into the mercy rule here in the PIAA AA State Finals. All Southern Columbia, 35-0. Put your hard hats on, folks. Southern Columbia is coming to town, and this guy may be a little bit bored. His team up 35-0 already, and it's a career night for senior Wes Barnes. 233 yards on the year. He was hurt most of his junior year, and we had a Garcia in there as well. So tonight, Wes Barnes is going to remember this one for a long time. Wyan. Big hit put on by the kicker. Isaac Carter rides him out of bounds.
Well, Wyan, again, trying, as a senior leader of the Trinity Shamrocks, he's trying to keep his team in there and say we got to fight to the very end, and it's going to be a big uphill battle right now, but they're still battling out there. Look at this. He gets the ball. It was a return left call, and then all of a sudden there's nothing there. I thought he was down. Puts his hand down, spins, comes back the opposite way. Another missed tackle. And he gets hit big out of bounds right there by the kicker.
Another big factor for Trinity has been their lack of 3rd down conversions tonight. 0 for 6 on the night. Ray being chased. Nowhere to go. And the quarterback for the Rocks is going to be brought down on the sack. 2nd sack of the night for Southern, and Carter was there.
And he's running for his life on this because the secondary coverage of the Tigers has been blanketed all night. There's nowhere, no receiver open, and that's just giving that defensive line and linebackers time to seek out and destroy the quarterback.
So a loss of 4 officially on the sack. Canton and Steel High tied at 21 now, late in the 3rd quarter. That's a Class A semifinal. Into the Wildcat.
And again.
Another flag. Christian Joy, the sophomore, run the Wildcat. Had a nice night against Halifax this year, 179 yards from number 11. Just 8 carries. And this is another penalty on Trinity.
And it's just so frustrating as a coach when you're down, you're trying to get something going, and then they're calling, the illegal motion plays. And that comes down to young kids making mental mistakes, and they've got to eliminate those, and they will probably remember this game forever and say we'll never do that again. And look at how the black jerseys are pursuing and just blowing it up in there. Number 43, we said his name all day, Isaac Carter, the defensive end kicker. Look at that. He's just coming off the edge, wrapping up. They're not even picking him up, and that's just a
Coach is probably
miscue.
thinking, where was he for 3 years? Coach, he was kicking the ball.
He's a kicker.
He's a good kicker, too.
He's a very good kicker.
But he's been a difference maker as well. We talked a lot about Wes Barnes, but a lot of people have mentioned Isaac Carter coming in and just putting his head down, playing defensive end, and making plays like that. 26 total tackles coming in. He had a sack coming in. He already has a sack and a half tonight. And another penalty. Bishop McDevitt now up 35-0 over Crestwood. So they're in the mercy rule as well, as are we here in the AA final. Ray back. Here comes the rush again. And that's the third drop ball by Trinity tonight. This is Mickens.
They're not helping their cause
No.
by and again, the 3 drop passes, Bob, have been good patterns. The ball has been in the place where they should be catching them. That one was tipped, it looked like, at the line of scrimmage.
So another missed third down conversion for the Shamrocks. And Pekovitz is getting a workout tonight, number 44, the punter. A little bit of a high snap. His kicks have gotten better. It's a high hanging kick. Wozlowski just lets it go over his head. And it's going to go out of bounds at the 31-yard line.
USA, USA. The 2022 FIFA Men's World Cup continues tomorrow. Round 16 begins tomorrow with a big game as the U.S. takes on the Netherlands at 10. Watch the entire FIFA Men's World Cup on Fox 56.
I've been watching. Have you?
Actually,
You were on a cruise ship.
That's
I know, but
the only channels they had coming in, believe it or not.
Yeah.
That and that other sport, which I don't understand, cricket. But, you know.
Is it football or football? That's all. Well, I don't know. Hey, it's soccer, and we like it, and we root for the USA. That's what we do.
That's all that matters, yep.
And if they could beat the Netherlands tomorrow, they'll make the quarterfinals for, I think, only the second time in history. Back in the early 2000s, they made it. But
yeah, a local boy does good. He's from the Lancaster area.
Hershey.
He's from
Hershey,
Hershey, okay.
Hershey, Pennsylvania.
Yep.
Yep, plays for Chelsea for right now. And a little bit of soccer. A football in Europe.
Goal!
We know that. Yep. So good luck to them tomorrow, 10 a.m. on Fox 56.
Right now, the Southern Columbia Tigers, they know where they're going next week, and they're not stopping right now. It's not like Coach Roth would say, you know what, we got this game, we're going to start playing our twos. They're going to take this all the way into the fourth quarter, and then we might see some substitutes.
Well, here's the thing about the twos. There's not a deep bench here. You think this is a huge roster. It's not a big roster. It's in the 30s at best.
And you would think the run that Coach Roth has had, I mean, he's done such a tremendous job with the Southern Columbia community and football program that there'd be oodles of kids. I mean, just, kids wanting to play, but they're affected like every other high school football team where the numbers are suffering. I mean, like you said, Bob, maybe high 30s is what they have total.
Wozlowski shoots through, still on his feet. The Maryland product has a figure law first down inside Trinity territory. Down to the 45, gain of about 14.
Boy, is he, I'll tell you, all those spins and everything he's doing, he's just putting his body out there on the line. Lead block by number 54 up in there, doing a nice job for them. That is Bremington again. He's only a sophomore. And you would think that this offensive line is huge. Bremington's only 200 pounds and 5'9". You can see him right there. Sharrow, 6'4". He's only 200 pounds. He's a senior, but he's got that playing experience in there, and he's just tall, lanky, and he does a nice job getting the angles and getting in position.
Barnes, his career night continues, couple yards on that. As I mentioned, the winner of this one will take on Westinghouse or Steel Valley. They're battling it out tonight. They're in the third quarter. Westinghouse leads now 14-7.
And you'll see Barnes just goes off right tackle in here. Nice job. And once he gets to the edge, he's just going outside. And you can see the look on some of the Trinity coaches' faces. They're just like, this is such a long night. We're being outplayed by a great team. And they know, and I talked to 4 of their assistant coaches pregame to get pronunciations and make sure the starters haven't changed. And they said they knew they were young, but they're counting on the experience that this is how their program has to be run, just like the Southern Columbia Tigers.
Well, as Jordan Hill says, you want to be the best, you got to play the best, and this will be a learning experience. They got some extra practices in. They have good young talent. They have a little bit of size up front, and they'll be back next year. No doubt.
I'd be disappointed if they didn't. You know, I mean, Coach, he's calling the defense right there. You see the signals coming in. You know, a Penn State alum right there. He's just done a great job with this program. Well, we saw
Chris Thompson, the freshman, had Barnes, but he got out of the grasp of that, did Barnes.
I'm going to go back to what you just said. Chris Thompson, 5'11", 250-pound freshman, who's in there against one of the best running backs in the state, you know, and he needs help. And right next to him is Misi Ely, who is a 6', 300-pound sophomore. So that's what I'm saying. The inside guys that the Trinity Shamrocks have are stout. They're only going to get stronger, and they're going to get better. And we're probably, Bob, going to see this rematch possibly next year.
Madden following his blockers. He's going to be two yards short, and we have a little bit of chippiness downfield. Flag comes in. Let's see if this is offsetting. Trezek was down there, I believe, going against the defensive back. And Southern fans on this side don't like it.
That's 72 right in there. That was Brett Horton, a 5'11", 200-pound senior.
This is downfield, though. This is real downfield. And this is a penalty after the play, so this backs him up. All the way to the 44-yard line.
Now we see that Southern Columbia, the gentleman there with the hard hat on, this is the mentality, blue-collar town. These guys, they like to get to work here, and they know that they can count on Friday nights the Southern Columbia Tiger football team being successful due to all the hard work that the coaches put in to prepare these boys for every Friday evening.
Oh, this clock will roll out here. They'll have to get it away. One more play left in the third on this running clock. Murphy. A little bit of a hole. Picks up about 7, and that should do it. One more quarter left for Southern Columbia, and it's off to Cumberland Valley next week, folks. Who they take on, still in doubt. Well, I think the Tigers are on their way. After 3, 35-0, Southern Columbia. Back to beautiful Selinsgrove, Pennsylvania. Southern Columbia leads this PIAA AA semifinal, 35-0. Wes Barnes with a career night, the senior running back. Well over 240-some yards on the night. 3 touchdowns. Murphy has a couple. And the Tigers just want to know who they're playing next week. That's all it is right now. Westinghouse leads Steel Valley 14-7 in the fourth quarter. In the other side of the bracket, the game next Friday, Jan and I will be there.
Yep.
Well, not broadcasting, but covering it for our news. 1 o'clock at Cumberland Valley. Quick pitch to Murphy, having a nice year. Picks up a couple yards.
They make up from that penalty. So now it's like, all right, 4th and 8 to go. So let's see what they go right here. They just go with that quick toss, and there's Murphy. Look at out on the outside just how number 2 for the Tigers was just shield blocking, and that was Carter Madden, just getting in the way of the defensive back and allowing Murphy to gain those yards.
Still 35-0 Bishop McDevitt over Crestwood. So how about the year Crestwood has had? Most ever wins in Comet history, 13. They win their second District 2 Quad A title in 3 years as Barnes adds to his total. And Ryan Arcangeli, you know, after a down year last year, really turned that team around. And congratulations to him. I know it's a tough loss tonight, and they'll be unhappy, but they're going to look back on the Crestwood season, and they're going to have big smiles, I think.
Well, Coach Arcangeli might smile.
He's been smiling.
He does. I know he does. And I had the pleasure of coaching that young man when he was at Kings, and he's just a great young man, a great coach. I shouldn't say young man anymore. He's just a great person. What he instills in those players and the turnaround from last year to this year, he attributed that to the lack of leadership that the senior class had the previous year. This year's seniors took the bull by the horn and have really done a tremendous job for the Comet community.
Carter Madden, the junior, who's had to step up as well, has a figure law first down. Gain of 14. First and goal, Southern Columbia inside the Allied Services red zone from the 4.
So there you go. They just pulled number 72, Brett Horton, the senior, around. It's just a typical wing tee buck sweep, but now Madden's just getting involved with it too. That the patience that they have and the burst that the Southern Columbia Tiger running backs have really has helped set them up for a lot of success.
From the 4. Who wants to get on? How about Murphy again? His 3rd score tonight. So Murphy and Barnes have all the touchdowns, and it's another one. Another Blaze Alexander Family Dealership touchdown for Southern Columbia.
Well, they went to that full house backfield where they're in 3 across, and the other 2 running backs lead up and through, and Murphy just had clear sailing in there. Number 45 for the Trinity, Trey Wyand, or excuse me, that's 14. He had a first hit on him, but he just couldn't do anything with it. That would be Tucker Paytner.
Isaac Carter busy tonight with the leg and on the defensive side. His kick is up and it is good. 9:32 left in this one. All Southern Columbia here tonight. It's the Dr. Todd Smile Cam one last time. Of course, the Southern Columbia cheerleaders.
Dr. Todd Smile Cam again. He's done this. I love it. And the kids get so excited.
And they should be excited. And the kick underway by the junior Isaac Carter. He may be defensive end next year, Coach.
I would imagine. Why not?
Why not?
He's already proven that he can rush off the edge. He can take on blocks. And he can kick.
Not too bad. And speaking of Southern Columbia, congratulations to the girls soccer team. 3 straight soccer championships for the team from Southern Columbia. Wow.
I mean,
that alone, you know the football team, but the females down in Southern Columbia, they're holding their own. 3 soccer titles. The last year's basketball team lost in the state finals.
Correct. I mean, they talk about how winning breeds winning. I mean, most schools would be happy to have one sport that wins a state title, but Southern Columbia, they've just done some things perfectly down there for their student athletes. Well, Trinity, that was a nice play that was probably their best first down play they've done all night. We got that running clock. So the clock's against them. They want to try to now play for some pride. Let's get a score on the board.
Well, you know, Southern doesn't want them to score. Like, that's prideful as well.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. You know, the defensive coordinators are going to be screaming, play assignment. That was Christian Boog Joy right there, the sophomore.
Mickens had a nice run in the first half of 30 yards. That's his second best run, but it's a little bit too late. It's a figure law first down.
Boy, if they went no huddle, they might catch Southern on their heels. But Mickens, look at that explosion there. Look at number 45, the fullback, looking to start lead blocking up in there. Again, we mentioned Tucker Paytner earlier. He's also a junior, 6 foot, 215-pounder.
And you can see why Mickens may be getting Division I offers just as a freshman. He's a nicely built young man. And he's got a figure law first down. He's got some speed, some power. And now he's finding some gaps, and he's inside the Allied Services red zone with a 23-yard gain. It's first and goal, Shamrocks.
You'll see right in it. He's just so fast and strong. But I right now, honestly, number 9.
Schlager,
or Brecken Reamer, a sophomore. I think Southern has replaced some of their kids out there, but that doesn't mean that this young man isn't a legitimate running back. I mean, he's just showing what he can do given a chance.
inside Mickens, and he's in for a Trinity touchdown. Messiah Mickens, his 19th score of the season. And the Rocks are on the board here late in this game.
Well, and there's no reason, I understand Coach Roth right now. He's letting his young kids get play. There's no way that this game's going to get out of hand. Smartly saving them for next week, get the reps off, start letting them heal a little bit now.
Bukovic's in for his first PAT attempt of the night. He's 52 of 57 coming in, make that 53 of 58. And we're on the board for Trinity. Westinghouse leads Steel Valley 14-7, 9:05 left in the fourth quarter.
Well, I expect an onside kick right now, Bob. Try to get that ball back and just hand off to Mickens again.
How special is this year for Jim Roth? An unusual amount of losses, right? You would say.
I don't think he's
doubters out there actually this year, and how he had the talent for many years. We know the Division I products he has and last year's team, but is there something special about this group, the way they've come back?
I think it's the resiliency of what's been embedded in them from the coaches and this community, that they know they expect to go undefeated. They expect to win a state championship every year. So things didn't go their way. How are they going to respond to that adversity? And we're seeing the result of it right now. And Trinity is actually catching the brunt of it, because this team, Bob, is, and we've mentioned this a few times in the broadcast, they are on a mission to prove all those naysayers and doubters that, you know what? Yeah, we lost. We didn't have everybody, and we're going to prove that we're as good as the other teams.
Kozlowski
and here
brings that return up, and Jim Roth going to add 483 to his total. Maybe another state title, but great company there.
Oh my gosh! I mean, George Curry, God rest his soul. Jack Hens is 444 wins. I mean, that's just insurmountable, the amount of wins that all these coaches in Pennsylvania have had. It's just crazy good. I mean, and what it says about the communities and what these players have committed to them, to the school and to their families, speaks volumes about what football is all about here in Pennsylvania. Getting in there now.
Some of the backups going in there, yep. You see some of the numbers and jerseys you don't get to see a lot.
And they get a chance now to contribute. So they're not just guys sitting on the sideline. And this year has been atypical for Southern Columbia in terms of usually their number twos get a lot more playing time. But this year they've been in so many battles and with the 3 losses. So these younger kids really haven't had quite as much time. And that's where Coach Roth, I think, separates himself from a lot of schools by getting his young kids in to get that experience.
Well, this week, Coach, we had our figure law firm scholar athletes during the regular season. We had 2 per game, 1 from each school. We have some great selections this year, and we thank all the school districts for putting forth their best student athletes for us. And this week we get to pick the video that they sent in, and can't wait for that. We got some outstanding videos in.
I don't envy you.
I peaked a little bit, so our figure law firm scholar athlete will get $5,000 scholarship for whatever college they go to. And it's not just football players. We've had field hockey and track and field and all types, and great student athletes. Emphasis on student
athletes. And figure law, Mr. Figure, he knows that from he went. I believe he went to King's, if I'm not mistaken.
And North Pocono. He's North Pocono.
North Pocono. So he's a local guy, giving back to the community and showing that these kids, these student athletes are the best at what they do in their schools and how productive they're going to be in their futures. And that's a great thing that he's doing for us.
And I'll tell you what, it will be a battle in our conference room to pick a winner, because every year we come down and we're like, this is really good, and this is really good, and we get Jane Adonisio in there, and we get get that female presence. It's not just me and Steve in there, somebody picking winners. We get we get as many, get 4 of us, and we'll talk about each one. Isaac Carter with his first punt tonight. So we'll discuss each one, and it is not an easy choice.
It's not. I mean, you guys
and we take it very seriously.
You're giving away a scholarship, and you have to do your due diligence. And these student athletes, I mean, you have 20 of them you got to pick from. And Bob, in the 10 games that I've seen, when Amanda was on the sideline interviewing these student athletes, I'm like, they're all great kids. Oh, my God. You think, wow, this one's really good. And then the next game, someone steps it up even more. So it's amazing.
They're smarter than you and I guarantee you that.
Absolutely.
So Trinity has the ball at the 30. Mickens going to get it. He's over 1,000 yards on that last drive for the freshman.
You sit there and you're looking at these juniors, and they're getting their chance now and the underclassmen, they're going to say, hey, you know what? I tackled a kid that's going to Texas A&M. I mean, they're getting their experience. They're going to be licking their wounds because he's such a strong runner.
Brandon Andrews on the stop. After the game, Jan's going to do some interviews with our players of the game, brought to you by the Army National Guard. And, of course, we can't go without saying a big thank you to our sponsors, as always.
Oh, they did a tremendous job.
Allied Services, Tom Hesser Dealerships, the Army National Guard I just mentioned, Perfect Storm Renovations, Figure Law, Dr. Todd. We love Dr. Todd and the Smile Cam. And, we gave – NEPA Builders gave a roof away.
How about that?
And that was fantastic. And we want to say a special big thank you to our sponsors all year long, and hopefully we get to see you in 2023, folks. Special year. Started with the Dream Game, regular season.
Well,
and thanks to Amanda.
Who moved to the West Coast.
On the West Coast now with her husband. And of course, we can't stop thanking all of our crew.
Bob, I mean, for them to do what they do and to actually make this guy kind of sound and look good, I really appreciate what they've done all year, over the last few years. They are the best in the business, and that's why we get the awards that we get because of them.
We will tell you, Canton and Steelton High Spire still tied at 21. Folks, I think that's going overtime. Only a couple minutes left in that one. We'll keep you up to date on that score in the Class A final. Again, Crestwood game is almost done with Bishop McDevitt. They're losing 35-0, but a special year for the Comets as well. Jan is headed down to get our post-game interviews with our players of the game. Wes Barnes and Loudon Murphy both had 3 touchdowns tonight. The defense has definitely stepped up for this Southern Columbia team. And pretty soon we're going to turn our attention to high school basketball. High school hoops here on MyTV, WQMY, starting in January. There's the freshman Mickens. Gets to the outside. And here is our high school basketball schedule. Starting Tuesday, January 10th, Valley View and Abington boys, followed by Nanticoke and Holy Redeemer boys. Hazelton area boys and Tunkhannock. We'll have 7 games for you overall. We also have some Bucknell games for you guys here in Central PA. January 21st and February 4th. The Bucknell men starting off the season 5-3 have a game this weekend. So your local sports leader right here, MyTV, WQMY. Glad you could join us throughout this one. It was all Southern Columbia from the outset. They got their first possession. They took it down the field, and they never looked back. They're throwing Hershey kisses out in the field. Why not? It's tradition, even though the game will be at Cumberland Valley High School. The final score, Southern Columbia picks up win number 12. They defeat Trinity 42-7. So congratulations to them, and congratulations to Trinity as well. A team on the rise in District 3. Their first ever AA finals. Didn't go their way for Coach Jordan Hill, but we thank him for getting us all the information on what to expect from his team here tonight. So Jan is going to be down on the field, talk to our players of the game. Going to get our Army National Guard players of the game, and thank you to all of our sponsors. Allied Services, Blaze Alexander for our Central PA games, Tom Hesser dealerships, love them. Toyota, back one more time, Perfect Storm Renovations, Figure Law, Dr. Todd, and NEPA Builders. So looks like Jan might be ready with Wes Barnes and Loudon Murphy. Let's go down to Coach Seachak, tonight's Army National Guard players of the game.
Players of the game for Southern Columbia. We have one gentleman that scored 3 touchdowns, had a career high, and another gentleman who scored 3 touchdowns. Was it a career high for you?
Yes.
It was? Or how many yards do you think you had total?
I would say maybe 75, maybe somewhere close to that, maybe a little less.
But only 3 touchdowns, right?
Yeah.
Mr. Barnes, it's nice to have you back. You've been a spark plug for this team. How did it feel tonight?
It felt great coming in and just getting the job done, like what we thought throughout practice and the whole week preparing for this game.
No problem going 200 yards and 3 touchdowns?
Nah, just playing the game and adds up.
I tell you, defensively, you guys were flying around. You guys did a great job. Having 3 losses on the year, was that the catalyst for you guys to really put your noses to the grindstone even more and avenge that and prove all the naysayers wrong?
Yeah, absolutely. We came in going in the district chip with 3 losses, losing to the team that we had in the district finals, and we knew that that we could come together and get the job done as a team.
Mr. Murphy, you're only a junior, right?
Yes.
How's it feel to now have the weight of the running game put on you for next year?
I love it. I know. Me and the other rotating halfback, Carter Madden. I know we're gonna light things up back there next year.
Anybody you want to thank, like maybe your offensive line gentlemen?
Yeah, absolutely. Chris, our captain, lineman, Jude Bermingen, sophomore coming up. They do a great job. Everyone did their job tonight for sure.
Isaac Carter, our kicker, who's coming back in. I mean, props to him. Props to Tyler Arnold, keeping their offense contained, keeping everything in.
Gentlemen, congratulations. Good luck next week. Bring another state title home for Southern Columbia. Jan Seachak wrapping up on the sidelines today. Great job.
I think we found Jan a second career. He may try and grab Coach Roth. We'll take a look at that. We will tell you the Canton Steel High has taken a 28-21 lead over Canton. 34 seconds left. They fumbled. Steel High took it in for the score, and unfortunately, it looks like that season may end. Crestwood has lost as well, so they end the season with 13 wins out of District 2. Right here, Southern Columbia, who will they face? Well, you'll have to stay tuned. Westinghouse was beating Steel Valley in that one, 14-7, but you see Coach already with the post-game interviews going on down there. Well, our Friday Night Rivals team is done. We're going to take a break and be back with high school hoops starting January 10th. Thank you to our entire crew all season long who did an awesome job. Too many names to talk about, but remember, read the screen. They're all right there. There's been a bunch of them throughout this season. They did an awesome job as always. The final score, once again, Southern Columbia looking for their 13th state title. We'll head to Cumberland Valley next week. They beat Trinity tonight 42-7. For Jan Sechak, for Amanda, who's not here tonight, this is Bob Ide saying so long and thank you for a super season of Friday Night Rivals.
You're watching Allied Services Friday Night Rivals, presented by Tom Hesser Dealerships on MyTV WQMY.